Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to go my review of WCW's Bash at the Beach 1999. Starting off the evening, we'll go to our first match of the night. It is Ernest Miller versus Disco Inferno. Inferno quickly attacks Ernest, turns into a back and forth matchup with Inferno keeping the pace of the match. But Ernest Miller hits a devastating kick on Disco Inferno, pins for the 3. And your winner of the match is Ernest Miller. Hats off to Ernest Miller for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is for the WCW Television Championship. It is Rick Steiner versus Van Hammer. I thought this was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Rick and Van Hammer, with Rick keeping the pace of the match. Rick then lands a bulldog on Van Hammer, pins for the 3. And your winner of the match, and at that time still WCW Television Champion, is Rick Steiner. Hats off to Rick Steiner for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is for the WCW United States Championship. It is Dean Malenko versus David Flair. I thought it was an okay matchup. Malenko was keeping the pace of the match, with Malenko applying a Texas Cloverleaf on David Flair. Arn Anderson is here. Arn then attacks the referee. Rick then hits Malenko with the championship. And your winner of the match, due to disqualification, is David Flair. Hats off to David Flair for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's kind of an elimination matchup, if you will. It is Conan, Rey Mysterio, Swole, and B.A. versus Curt Hennig, Bobby Duncum, Barry Duncum, and Kendall Windham in this matchup. The match itself, it was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between both teams. Ray hits a slingshot leg drop on Bobby, pins for the 3. Bobby is now eliminated from this matchup. Hennig then hits a fisherman suplex on B.A., pins for the 3. B.A. is now eliminated from this match. Conan then hits a roll-up, pins for the 3. Kendall is now eliminated from this matchup. Conan and Barry both fight on the outside. Referee counts him out. Conan and Barry now are both eliminated from this matchup. Ray then hits I'm pretty sure he hits a slingshot leg drop on Hennig, pins for the 3. Hennig is now also eliminated from this matchup. And your winners of the match are Conan, Rey Mysterio, Swole, and B.A. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is a Junkyard Invitational. I thought this was an awful matchup. Again, I stated multiple times as well, the hardcore division for WCW was an absolute joke. But the winner of this match was Fit Finlay. Hats off to Fit Finlay for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is a tag team matchup for the WCW Tag Team Championships. It is Kanyon and Bigelow versus Chris Benoit and Perry Saturn. I thought this was a good matchup. Back and forth matchup between both teams. Kanyon then throws powder at Saturn's face, causes Saturn to be blind. DDP then hits a diamond cutter on Saturn, pins for the 3. And your winners of the match are Kanyon, Bigelow, and DDP. Hats off to Kanyon, Bigelow, and DDP for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Roddy Piper versus Bagwell. I thought this was an awful matchup. Piper was keeping the pace throughout the entire match, but Bagwell hits the finish on Piper, pins for the 3. And your winner of the match is Bagwell. Hats off to Bagwell for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is the main event of WCW's Bash at the Beach 1999. It is for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is Kevin Nash and Sting versus Randy Savage and Sid Vicious. It was a good match, back and forth matchup. Randy ultimately hits an elbow drop off the top rope, pins for the 3. And your winner of the match, and at that time new WCW World Heavyweight Champion, is Randy Savage. Hats off to Randy Savage for getting the win in that matchup. A couple of things I'm going to say about Bash at the Beach 1999 before I get out of here, man. Number one, it was an okay event at best. There's a lot of matches on here that I wasn't a big fan of. Ernest Miller versus Disco Inferno, I definitely could have done without it. I wasn't a big fan of the match, to be honest with you. Rick Steiner versus Van Hammer, solid matchup. Malenko versus David Flair, I wish it was a concrete finish. and a clean finish at that. But unfortunately, we had Arn Anderson and Ric Flair get involved in this matchup. Conan, Rey Mysterio, Swole, BA versus Kurt Hennig, Bobby Duncum, Barry, and Kendall Windham. It was an okay matchup at best. Really wasn't that great either. Junkyard Invitational was an absolute atrocious. The hardcore division, again, was a complete joke for WCW. I don't know why they even incorporated a hardcore division into WCW. It was not needed at all. It was pretty much one of the worst matches WCW ever put together. Piper and Bagwell, it was an okay match at best. And then obviously the main event, Kevin Nash, Sting, Randy Savage, and Sid Vicious. Solid matchup with Randy Savage becoming victorious and becoming the new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. With that being said, just like I do with every single one of these pay-per-views, you guys know by now, I always give these pay-per-views a rating from 1 out of 10. 1 being the absolute worst, 10 being the absolute best. I'm going to have to give WCW's Bash at the Beach 1999 a solid rating of a 3.5 at best. But this is my review of WCW's Bash at the Beach 1999. I hope you guys are out there staying safe, be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.